Hello, hey, hi, social media family, and any visitors to that bin of my own social media channel and or chat room or comment section. How you all doing? Hopefully everyone is doing at least okay. If not, better yet to be said to be feeling all right, or if not, best of all to be said to be feeling blessed and stressed, more blessed and stressed, or too blessed to possibly become or be stressed. You and yours, your family and friends, and hopefully me and mine. Likewise as well, all the same. No, I'm not wearing it so much to cover bald spot than I yet to, get some kind of medical hair growth treatment or ingredients of substances put up there. As I had at one time, to shave my head too close, cut it, shave for that area spot. Then I have yet to get dental work, for the teeth, of which I have had removed in times past, on short notice for emergency reasons or purposes. Whereas I'm starting to look, or hopefully not that much more like the boyfriend or fiance or husband of the Bride of Frankenstein. Whereas that could prove to become or be a turnoff to certain born and raised female persons representing opposite sex, but then nevertheless a grown adult woman, whatsoever races and whatever walks of life, factions, or society lifestyle preferences, being of whom are still into males, then have joined as in becoming or being card carrying members to the opposing team, as in the LGBT community. Yes, but then beauty is only skin deep, or as they say, or beauty is in the eye of the beholder, you know. Yes. Other than that, God has not given us the spirit of fear, but He has given us power. So, once again, I toss the shades. Voila! Regardless of, you know, whatever I could be feeling like at the moment or whatsoever I could possibly be experiencing of any general health issues. And let me tell you something. This one proverbial neighbor from down hell has been really going at it most recently once again, as it is his quite usual, regular, daily, nightly routine. And if you hear anything else in the background other than, communications or a broadcast coming from an electronic device or the television, radio, etc., other than that, then it would be him. You know, stupid does as stupid feels. You know, there are more, yes, some and such, or an increase of dinosaur turds or characters of like his kind. Ways it takes all kinds to make a world, as he would compliment that one phrase, coin phrase to be possibly considered, because he is not just quite like so, but very much like so, an idiot, you know, and a sicko. Well, not so much as what you call an idiot and a sicko as he himself is a creep. And I do think that he creeps that much more than carry on. I said then to carry on, than carrying on like then for him to have carried on, or then to be carrying on like an idiot and or a sicko or nutcase. Sorry about that. I seem to be, you know, feeling like or have become subject to experiencing feelings of some kind, sort or type of an Elmer Fudd, with the speech impediment or speech defect, or hoping not likewise equal as well, all the same, that some kind of memory lapse episode. Yes, but then how are you all doing? Anyway, I guess I myself am feeling well. At least I'm in the land of living. Hopefully I feel much better than what I felt like last. But then I suspect that this one particular proverbial neighbor from hell, being among the dime a dozen public nuisances of problem neighbors who continue to not only make their fellow neighbors' lives a living damn hell, but then likewise continue to violate their own apartment rental leases. And hopefully this one in particular is not partly responsible for the way I'm feeling as of the present given time, with symptoms being of which are or is affecting my general health, as I suspect that he himself is partly responsible. But then I don't want to go into the specific details as to what I myself had become or had become subject to experiencing. Or so I say, regardless of whether or not I'm speaking correct, standard, proper English, grandmother American dialect, or be I were to be butchering it, at one given one time or another, or hopefully that much less than more. Because if I were to go into the specific details, then who knows whether or not this one proverbial neighbor from hell or Republican problem neighbor could possibly get wind of this one social media broadcast or video of mine, and then, whereas I could suspect, later that if I could possibly start to feel worse, that, maybe he has made me or I myself being that my person becomes subject to experiencing even worse foul play than which himself could have possibly orchestrated, initiated, and or perpetrated against my person. Only after getting wind of this one particular present social media broadcast or video of mine. And therefore, I will not go into the specific details as to what I myself have become subjected to experiencing so far as concerning the symptoms affecting me in due regard in reference to my general health, be it physical, mental, or both. Being of which is understandable. You have to deal with, crackpots or nut cases like him. But then, nevertheless, I likewise, well, all the same suspect that some of such doctors and nurses at two different medical facilities or hospitals, be it public or private, could have possibly have, orchestrated, initiated, and perpetrated something foul against me. So likewise, as well, all the same, make me become subjected to experiencing symptoms that could possibly or is more or less affecting my general health, or as I was saying, upon a mental and physical level. Doing so much for that conversation, then because that is not the content of the present social media broadcast or video, but rather I wish to discuss some of such matters as it is in due regard or in reference to, within, regardless of, you know, whether I were to speak upon one subject matter or a couple, few, or four more, for that matter, a topic of discussion to be debated or given arguments with the many different views and opinions, be associated or affiliated and representing thereof, in the same, the said question or the form of prior mentioned. But then may I speak as accurately and or truthfully as possible, you know, because I'm not one here to attempt to, you know, support and or promote any disinformation, as that would defeat the very reason and or purpose for that being of my person having acquired this social media account with this social media website address, and that would be working against me, you know, practically and or possibly as much as an internet troll. Well, not only an internet troll, but then a crank caller, a stalker, a proverbial neighbor from hell, etc. You know, I think you all get the general deal of what I'm trying to say. As they should prove to be come or be a no-brainer as in self-explanatory. Okay. Anyway, getting back to some of such other, before I were to lose my train of thought, or if I have, before I were to lose it again, you know, I don't know what I was about to say. Well, I guess it's not got all that important if it were, you know, God would bring it back to mind. If not, then all things work for the good of God, regardless, you know. The God being of whom I choose to recognize and realize, being as He Himself is the God of my own understanding, being of none other than our Lord and Savior Christ, Messiah, deliverer. Then did I tell you all about what this present? No, I didn't tell you, did I? That is of my social media family of any subscribers to my social media channel, and likewise what I was saying, chat room and comment section, as well as I don't think that I had informed any visitors to it, of some such. Or if I didn't, so I do so now. And if I did, then there's no harm in repeat myself. Whereas this present social media broadcast or video is having to do with, as it is about, or in other words, as it is regarding or making reference to, that being of the persons of those being of the white Jewish Zionists or the Israelis whose homeland is that of the state of Israel for the Middle East, being of whom are mistreating other persons of a different race, being of the Palestinians, and possibly likewise, once again, being of their fellow brethren of the black Ethiopian Jews there across the great waters of the Atlantic. And I guess as I feel inspired to mention some as such for the present moment in time, no, and or mainly or mostly after having, you know, become a participant viewer and a listener of this one documentary, you know, that was exposing the evils of mistreatment being dished out from others against others, still are the same. You know, same mistreatment that they had frowned it on when they were POWs within the atmosphere for premises properties, the different given address locations, concentration camps or death camps, upon the continent of Europe during World War II, as well as other races or nationalities being of whom had become subject to experience the same inhumanity of mistreatment of civil war and human rights violation offenses coming from the Aryan Nazis back then, before the military allies had liberated that continent and all the European countries or nations in accordance to historical records, being which was occupied by the fascist powers of the evil axis being of, you know, the the German Nazis and the Italian fascists, and then whereas the third among them was that being a fascist Japan for that the South Pacific. Mm, yes, and whereas they are making, that is the white Jewish Zionists of Israelis are causing the Palestinians and the black Ethiopians to become subject to experiencing the same inhumanity or mistreatment that they had become subjected to experiencing during World War II. And that's wrong. And I don't approve. No, I don't. But then hold that thought. Because here we have some more spam coming from somebody that's popped up in my notes notification section, as in no comments section or chat room. So, what they thought, y'all. So I appreciate that. Alrighty. I have reported one spreading spam. And the next time, I'm just going to, put one in timeout or remove one's chat. I think that does the same, because I noticed that when I report one, then one's comment disappears, or hopefully it did, But to take no chances, sometimes I will just go ahead and put one in time out and remove one's comment myself, as well as I could report it to the administrators for this particular social media website address, and or for that being my channel, or what I mean. So, hold that thought, y'all. Please do not come upon my social. Sorry about that. I'm kind of having some trouble typing. That's correct. Please do not come upon my social media channel, or likewise into my social media chat room or comments section, attempting to possibly do so with the sole reason and or purposes which is to come off as some kind of an internet troll. Otherwise, if you do as a visitor to it being of some or of such, then I myself being that my person reserve that being of the rights and or privilege and or rights and or privileges privileges to not only I say or state for that in of the record as your average individual person knows who is that being of the owner of a social media website address. Social media website address. Social media website address. Channel account. When I say state for that, as your average individual person knows who is that being the owner of a social media website address channel account would Bing would which is to reserve that of the rights and or privileges of which is to not only silence somebody else's chat, but then likewise block somebody as well as report somebody else. And like say to the administrators of this one social media website address for being disrespectful of another's social media channel, or attempting to spread any spam or whatever whatever else, or that for that matter being of etc. And as I myself personally, well, I don't know about anybody else, but then I am just saying for that being as a matter of a figure of speech, as well as for the sake of argument, as I myself am sure that nobody wants another individual person attempting to trash one's own social media channel, and or likewise chat room or comments section. Then another one that's popped up in here. And whereas I have a zero tolerance level for it, and it will not be tolerated. I said that it will not be tolerated. So, therefore, don't come therefore don't come upon my social media channel as an internet troll. If you don't want to be silenced, and then and then last but not least, blocked. And very few of whom I block can or could possibly get access to that mean to that mean of my social media channel, and likewise chat room or comments section, meaning that because most of whom I myself personally block are blocked permanently. So don't disrespect me by disrespecting my social media channel. Likewise, social media comments section. Sorry about that, you all. The devil is a liar and the truth is not in him. And to think that I was playing the part of the devil's advocate enough as it is, in case the situation lasts, as I had, I say, or how you say most recently, had choked my chicken as and masturbated. Yeah. Yeah, I did. You know. Yes, I was making like what's his name? Giggity. I don't know what possessed me to do so. I guess I was feeling quite a bit of physical pain, Yeah. Yeah, I was. Not that I'm not now, but hopefully that much less than before. It's sorry about the interruption, but then where was I? I know I was speaking upon matters as I was hoping it would be calm or be that much more than that much less, depending on how long I wish to broadcast, being the content of this present social media broadcast or video or whatever, how to say it, or what everyone wants to make of it. Being a wish to bring to the attentions to how many could possibly view and listen to this, likewise listen to this present social media. Can you can you see words unless it's in the comment section? Of course you can see words in the comment section. But you cannot, know what I'm talking about if it's not some of such, you know, to be heard in a social media broadcast of video, you know, if it's not to be heard, unless it is to be seen in the printed form, so far as that of the chat room comment section of a social media broadcast of video. But then this one is dealing with the mistreatment of other Palestinians. Not that I'm a Palestinian. If anything, I myself am, part Jewish, but nevertheless in accordance to my Judeo-Christian faith or religious, supernatural, spiritual beliefs. And was I would think it quite flattering for the white Jewish to think of themselves as being of the real black Jews, or just that, as all human civilization has started upon the continent of Africa. And you cannot possibly have been an original Jew as a white person, being because if you were up under the sun's rays for a great length of time, and as it is hot in the Middle East, and your pigmentation would have, the color of your skin would have become darker, and so would your hair texture would be different, and so forth. But then I'm quite flattered that the white Jewish think of themselves or have adopted not only the identity but the culture of the original Jews being of blacks, so they would still be considered as my brothers and sisters. And blacks cannot be anti-Semitic, being it because we are the real Jews. The white Jewish, are just our brothers and sisters, or as it would be considered as our brothers and sisters, as they have taken on our identity and likewise have taken on our culture. But unfortunately, they have taken our lands from us in the Middle East. For the Middle East, oh, excuse me, pardon me, for that country across the great waters of the Atlantic. And so it caused me great sorrow to think that they, being of the white Jewish of the Zionist Israelis, are not only, harassing, intimidating, persecuting the Palestinians, all the while knowing that throughout that of the history of the Holocaust, which is similar to what blacks had to go through during slavery, that here it is the white Jewish of the Holocaust that it happened to them upon the continent of Europe during World War II, to be compared on to what happened to blacks during slavery upon the continent of North America, that they are mistreating the Palestinians. And not only that, but black Ethiopian Jews been of their brethren, overseas there, giving them the same mistreatment that they themselves had received from the German or Aryan Nazis. Not that all Nazis were German, or right, should I say, not that all Germans were Nazis. Some of them opposed the Nazis. Hold that thought. I have another internet chore in here. Everybody, sorry about that, the interruptions. This looks like this is going to become quite a habit, with internet trolls continuing to pop up in my chat room or comment section, leaving their spam. Okay. I think I'm gonna, I put him in, I report him, put him in timeout. Well, before this, I put one in timeout or silence one chat. Well, they're supposed to silence one chat or put, or rather remove. They're supposed to silence one chat or put one person out of another person's social media channel and a chat room comment section, or they supposed to like silence one's chat. They can silence the administrators of the social media website address can likewise silence, internet trolls chat and also delete one's message, but then you'd be better off doing it yourself. So let me see here. Sorry about that. Once again, I say, y'all, it's like they did, the administrators. Let me see here. Put him in timeout and silence. It's chat. It's a mistake. Hold on. Okay. Yes, sorry about that. But anyway, though, here it is that the you know the the like whereas the men what we considered as the racist rednecks or the Nazis that had harassed and intimidated, persecuted them during World World War II upon the continent of Europe. Yes, whereas here it is, they are harassing, intimidating, persecuting the Palestinians and the Black Ethiopian Jews. Whereas if you're not one of the white Jewish or a Zionist Israeli, then there's only so many vicinity areas of the state of Israel within the Middle East that you can live in as a resident or tenant. You know, you would be considered as one who is a second class citizenship. The same can be said. There's only so much education, and likewise, only so much health care and whatever other opportunities being of which could possibly be allotted to you. You know, whereas although apartheid may have ended in South Africa, then it can be said, stated for the record, that it is alive and well, you know, that is within the state of Israel for the Middle East, coming from those being of, unfortunately, our Jewish brethren of the white Zionist Israelis who are mistreating others all the same as they were mistreated during World War II by the German Nazis. Not that all Germans were Nazis, or rather, should I say, rephrase that, the Aryan Nazis. And that's a shame. It caused my mind and my heart great pain to think that this is happening. So I'm thinking, what if I myself, as a black American citizen, were to get the chance or the opportunity, however say, to travel overseas into the state of Israel for the Middle East? Would I, or could I possibly, or would I probably have my civil and or human rights violated by my brethren of the white Jewish or Zionist Israelis? As much as I would like to try to give them the benefit of the doubt, but with all things considered, more likely, more often than not, I would have some of such violated, you know, and being of which would just rehash old memories of what blacks had to go through, during the pre-civil rights movement era, you know, at random, or that much more supposedly. But then slavery for blacks had just taken on a new form, you know, for a post civil rights movement era, which is much more tricky, because there's still, you know, racism against blacks that's being perpet- orchestrated, initiated, and or perpetrated. And like say, for example, as I make my case in point, and speaking upon these matters now, like I mean straight from the original topic of the discussion. But when unarmed ethnic minority males, or those being the different races of non-white males, and particularly and especially a black male, black and Hispanic ones, are being stopped and frisked by lousy, racist, redneck, dirty cops with their flunkies of non-whites on any police force nationwide, and where things could possibly escalate, you know, like within a fragment of a second, especially when it comes that much more to be said, as well as it would go without saying, or as it would go double or triple to be said when it comes to the blacks and even so Hispanics, but especially that much more when it comes to blacks of males. Then that slavery is alive and well, whereas it's like apartheid has been, you know, like transported from South Africa to the USA, or whereas we're just we just become subject to experiencing the new and improved apartheid of racism of the post civil rights era movement. You know, if an unarmed black man could be stopped and frisked by three white boys and then beat it or shot to death, or if a racist redneck dirty cop can shoot an unarmed or practically unarmed black male or young black male 16 times, or if another racist redneck dirty cop who could possibly, you know, be closet Klan or closet neo-Nazi there could therefore could then and there is what I mean to say sorry about that. Lean his knee upon a black male's neck and cut off his oxygen supply for several minutes, being of which would result in developments of the non-white black male expiring, or whereas he would become of deceased to be carted away to the nearest city morgue, you know, for wake and funeral processions, you know, then be sent to a cemetery after possibly ending up being examined by CSI, you know. Anyway, though, getting back to the original topic of the discussion, sorry about the interruptions, you all. And so, the 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 white Jewish brethren of ours, Zionist Israelis, are not only harassing, intimidating, persecuting, but terrorizing and traumatizing, you know, others being from the Palestinians to the black Ethiopian Jews still there in the state of Israel for the Middle East, you know. That's rather tragic. And I didn't know it was so bad, you know. When I heard about it, I thought maybe somebody may be blowing things out of proportion. But when I had done or did more research, I found out that wow, there's more there than meets the eye, you know. And the world is watching, you know, hopefully, you know. Whereas our white Jewish brethren of the Zionist Israelis are just coming off as their rival counterparts of, you know, the German, or rather, should I say, Aryan neo Nazis and the racist redneck Klansmen. You know. Then so much for this conversation. I mean, it didn't come out like I wanted it to. That is the content for the social media broadcast or video or whatever one wants to make of it. But then I think you all get the general idea of what I was trying to say. That is your person among yourselves, or my social media family, of any subscribers as well as any visitors. And if you like this video, then please not only press the like button or attachment, but then, you know, subscribe to that being of my social media channel. You know, and on this last note of interest, I would like to say, you know, as I would usually give the intro, then I would speak upon a subject matter, a couple, three or four more, for that matter, depending on how I feel. And then I would, last and not least, be inclined to give you all the closing by saying, if I have to paraphrase, not quote exactly, and that is, if you haven't gotten Christ as your personal Lord and Savior, I would hope that you would think to do so now while the blood is still running warm in your veins, by recognizing and realizing what he himself had done or did upon the cross of Calvary on the hill of Golgotha, suffering at the hands of some say Roman soldiers up under orders, their superiors, religious and otherwise. But then, nevertheless, whereas he went to the cross of Calvary to become the perfect sacrifice, the only sacrifice for you as well as for me, so that if any of us, being whatsoever race and whatever walks of life, being the other old and young alike, of both the two sexual genders, of males and females, representing as we are, in addition, or as well all the same, of the old and young alike, you know, being as we are, representing not only, you know, that being of the human species, but then nevertheless that of the global community within this post 911 era of a new millennium apocalyptic day and age, and where the doomsday clock is now at a couple few minutes to midnight, compared on to how formerly, previously, prior to then, it was a quarter midnight for these rather biblically prophetic times. Word to profess some of such faith in him. From there, we will become and be blessed in one regard or another, in more ways than one. First and foremost, for this salvation, being on which is the only means by which any of us can or could possibly hope to enter into the kingdom of heaven, and or be considered as citizens thereof. And the second part where we will be blessed with that of his deliverance while we are here. You know, but first of all, you have got to get his salvation being of not just the much more important, but the most important blessing. Otherwise, you have nothing coming. So far as blessings is concerned, you have got to accept him as your personal Lord and Savior. Recognize and realize him to be the Christ, the one and only Christ, none others. You know, so that at some given moment in time, not if and when. I wonder why they say if and when. I mean, eventually we're all going to pass someday. So, if anything, the correct, words to say or the correct way of putting it would be so that when you do pass or make that transition for the great beyond of the afterlife or the hereafter, you will not have to worry about winding up or ending up in a liquefied damn hell once you were to make that transition for some of such existence otherwise. Whereas this one, as we have it here, is just temporary. The next life or the next world is permanent. Whereas you would not have to worry about, you know, burning in the lake of fire, damn hell forever among the other unsaved, lost, damn human souls to be tortured and terrorized by the devil and his demons in that same line of thought, it says the word. Then because you as a believer, among others, would have that fire insurance policy, you know, once you were to make that transition, you know, and whereas we would be separated from those others across that of the great divide that separates heaven from hell, as we would be in the company of like-minded believers in God, as in Christians, aka Protestants, and likewise as well all the same in the presence of God as angels otherwise. But then God is not to be mocked. What you sow is what you shall reap. If you have not taken time out or go about trying to find time or make time to meditate on God's word, on the gospel message, to get his salvation, then you winding up or ending up in a lake of fire, a damn hell is nobody else's fault but your own, okay? Because nobody would have put a loaded lethal weapon of a firearm to your head and say, don't accept Christ as your personal Lord and Savior before you go to damn hell. That would be your doing. You all take care and be safe, be blessed, not stressed. And I'll holler at you later. Until then, I guess this is a wrap. We out. Peace.